So, one of my friends recently asked me to make a video for you guys, and that is recommend a book for non-readers to make them start to like reading. And first of all, thank you so much for that request. It made me work a little bit, and I have come up with a list of about 5 books that I think will be perfect for someone in this position, whether it be you are just dipping your toes into the world of books, or you were reading a lot of books and you read one that shook you and you're just in a reading slump right now and you want to get out. If you're new here, which you might be, because my channel is pretty tiny, but we're growing. My name is Vaish, and I am a neuroscience undergraduate student. I love reading, so that's basically what my channel is about. It's about my university experience, the books I read. I'm in my 20s now, so it's about me figuring out my 20s and all that jazz. So if that sounds interesting to you, please consider subscribing. And without further ado, let's look at those books that are supposed to get you into reading or rekindle your love for books. First up, I got The Timekeeper by Mitch Albom. I read this book a long time ago. It's well loved and breaking because I keep going back to this book every time I get into a slump and I want to get out. I have written notes on the margins ever so often because that's how much I love this book. It's one of the first books I read by this author. It's about a man who is trapped and banished for centuries for trying to measure time and creating the world's first clock. So his punishment is that he's banished for centuries and he has a way out, and that is to pick 2 people and teach them what the true meaning of time really is. The narrative kind of shifts from the 2 people and the timekeeper, and like it shifts and it keeps you very much on your toe. You're always thinking about what's gonna happen next, and it'll feel like this book flew by because that's how fast-paced the writing style is, and I just loved it. And I also loved this other book, also by the same author, which is our number 2, Tuesdays with Mory. This one's a memoir. It's not fiction. It's actually about how Mitch Albom, our author, reconnecting with his former professor who is dying from ALS. He visits Mory every Tuesday and they discuss about everything that has to do with life. It's one of those books that I got to read in my early days of getting into reading, and it really showed me the possibility of how much a book can leave me speechless and teach me so much. And if you have read Tuesdays with Mory already, then you will definitely like The Last Lecture by Randy Pausch. It is very similar to Tuesdays with Mory, another book filled with a lot of wisdom. It's definitely something I would totally gift other people who are, about to start something new in their life, or turning 20 or something like that. It's one of my favorite books. Anyway, back to our video. Another book I have for you is The Facts of a Body, a murder memoir by Alexandria Lesnevich. I hope I didn't butcher that name. This book was mind-blowing. It's a true crime, and it flows in an investigative form, with the author looking into a real murder that happened in 1992 of a 6-year-old boy, Jeremy Guillory, who got molested and murdered. And the person who the court deemed responsible for this murder is on the death row, which is what actually gets our author interested in investigating this case, because she does not believe in death rows. So if you are into a good page-turner memoir or true crime or legal thrillers or a combination of all of that, this book is perfect for you, and it'll definitely leave you rattled. Since it's a memoir, we are also getting a personal look into the author's life and her dealing with forgiveness and grief, and basically we're moving with her as she investigates this case, navigates her emotions and past memories, and her dealing with difficult mental turmoils where she has to battle her mind on what she really believes. I don't think I've read anything like this before. Quite honestly, I am looking for more books like this one. It just quite doesn't hit the same way. Sadly, all of this did happen in real life. So yeah, if you do decide to pick this book up, please check the trigger warnings. Staying on the same nonfiction lane, but keeping things a bit more on the lighter hearted side of things. I've got Own Your Weird, an oddly effective way for finding happiness in work, life, and love by Jason Zook. I read this book a while ago when I saw Matt Diavella interview the author and recommend this book, and I just got really intrigued about the idea of this book. It's basically what the title suggests. It's about owning what makes you unique, which is thrown around a lot, like, oh, we're all unique, you're different, I'm different, and it's all good. But I feel like this book kind of hits the nail on the head about how you can be a little bit more confident in who you are and not really worry about social expectations as much. Because when you think about the word weird, most of the time it's never really associated with a positive connotation. Most of the time it's associated with a negative connotation. This book kind of changes that limiting belief, and I don't know, personally it helped me at the time when I was a teenager to hold my head up a little higher and be okay with the changes that I was going through, or how different my character was compared to what was around me, which I think is great for anyone to read about, especially if you're young and you're figuring out who you are. And finally, for you romantics, if you thought I forgot about you, we need to have a chat. Because I recently got into reading more romance. I never read romance. I mostly only read nonfiction, as you can tell from my recommendations. But, you know, it's important to be versatile when it comes to your reading genres. Anyway, I have a book for you, and this is a book that made me stay up at night and read until I couldn't anymore. And it made me cry because what the hell? Even though I sort of knew what was about to happen. And this book is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I'm pretty sure you've heard about this book before, and you've probably seen other people recommend it to you. And if you haven't still picked it up, you must. It's a retelling of the Trojan War from the perspective of Patroclus, and it's so wholesome and heartbreaking and tragic and eye-opening at the same time. I just loved it. It was one of my first fiction reads, and it made me cry. Like, I was staring at the wall, just deep in my thoughts. I couldn't even feel all the tears flowing down my cheeks. That's how bad it got me. So yeah, you should definitely pick it up. If you have watched the movie Troy and you sort of liked it, then you should definitely read this book. You will get a better understanding of the full picture, because I don't know, I like this book and the storyline of this book and the romance in this book more than the movie. Anyway, I'm feeling sort of generous. I feel like I'll add one more book to our little list, and it's also a romance. It's by one of my favorite authors, and it is Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I just love her writing style. I don't know if it's because she's a neuroscience professor and I'm a neuroscience student. She's not my neuroscience professor, although I wish. But I just love. Well, this is the first book I read by Ali Hazelwood, and I finished it within 2 days. I just could not put it down. This book had me in a chokehold. It's about Olive. First of all, it's a STEM novel. So if you're a STEM student, then you're definitely in for a treat. It's going to be more relatable to you. And if a book is relatable, it's more likely that you will end up finishing it and you will end up enjoying it. So this one's about Olive, who is trying to convince her best friend Anne that her dating life is going really well because she doesn't want Anne to feel guilty for dating one of Olive's exes. So she does so in some pretty convincing ways, which ends up in some pretty interesting, exciting series of events. Yeah, so that's Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. So that's all I have for you today. I told you I'll give you 5, but I gave you 7. I hope that those were some solid book recommendations to get you cuties into reading or rekindle your love for reading and books again. Thanks to the bestie who asked me to make this video, and thank you so much for watching so far. If you liked this video, please consider subscribing. It'll help me out. It'll motivate me to keep going. If you have any other video recommendations for me or videos that you specifically want to see from me, please let me know by leaving a comment, or if you're feeling a bit shy, you can always reach out to me on my Instagram. Everything is linked in the description below. I'm planning on making my next video a wrap up of all the books I read in June. So if that sounds interesting to you, subscribe and stay tuned. We're besties now. So as always, I will see you soon. Love you. Bye.